From the Albuquerque Journal, this is the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. It's Thursday, June 25th. Here's what we're covering on today's episode. The developers of the data center complex in Santa Teresa for Oracle and OpenAI are not complying with reporting requirements under its Industrial Revenue Bond Agreement, which was acknowledged by Doña Ana County this week. With more on this development, I'm now joined by the Journal's Southern New Mexico correspondent Algernon Damasa. Algernon, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Gino, good to be back.
So Algernon, you've been doing a lot of reporting on this massive data center project, also known as Project Jupiter, and really ever since the project's inception, there's been a lot of controversies surrounding it. We have a new one in your reporting today. What can you tell us about it?
Right, so this speaks to the process by which the data centers, plural, because it's 4 data centers, it's a microgrid, power generating facility, and an office complex. This is a huge project, and it is being financed in part through tax incentives, including a rather large industrial revenue bond contract with the county, which is really just an exchange of property taxes for some direct payments and some guarantees about things like jobs and local hires. Okay, so as part of this contract, the developers behind this project, which is a few companies building different parts of it, have committed to making regular reports to the county to show that they're fulfilling the commitments, the promises that they made. And so what came about in the latest county meeting this week is that the project has missed some deadlines. It's not exactly clear why. There may be some confusion about how they're supposed to submit them and keep personal information about workers safe, things like that. But the whole thing, Gino, is that the pressure is on these commissioners to hold the project to its commitments because there's some sustained public outrage about it.
And Algernon, something interesting in your story that you mentioned is there are consequences to these companies missing these deadlines and not reporting properly, and those could result in sanctions that could be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so an industrial revenue bond is a little bit misleading because it's not public money that's being borrowed or spent. What happens is the county actually holds title to the project's property and equipment and things like that, and they're leasing that property back to the developers. And so there's a contract that supervises all of this, and it is authorized by an ordinance. And so there are clawback measures in the contract. There are penalties. There's even the possibility of a repeal, and that's certainly what a lot of opponents of the data center would like to see, but that doesn't seem to be on the table right now. And even if they did try to repeal it, the county would end up in court for a very long time litigating it, and the project is going to proceed probably no matter what. And so I don't know what it would take to halt construction on the project. They're working on a round-the-clock schedule.
And Algernon, transparency has really been a key issue surrounding this project since it was formally announced, and that has led to litigation from several parties, even the New Mexico Foundation for Open Government recently filing their own lawsuit with concerns about if we're really getting all the information we should be getting. So really oversight and transparency at the heart of a lot of issues surrounding Project Jupiter.
Right. And the opposition kind of goes into a few different buckets here, and so do these lawsuits. So there are people who just are opposed to data centers. They are opposed to the pollution. They're concerned about the water usage. They don't like AI, frankly, as a technology and the way it's being implemented and the way it's being pushed aggressively. So there's that. There are also, there's a couple of lawsuits, one of which actually got dismissed this week, that are attacking the project on procedural grounds. They say the county didn't have all the information and therefore couldn't have made a responsible decision to approve this IRB. One of those lawsuits, as I said, just got dismissed. Then you have transparency lawsuits. The New Mexico Environmental Law Center is suing the county because of a closed meeting that they held while they were deliberating about the industrial revenue bond. The latest lawsuit is from the Foundation for Open Government, and they are suing because of some public record requests that were denied, which they say violated the public record statute in New Mexico. And that's the freshest lawsuit.
And Algernon, outside of the concerns about transparency and oversight, also a lot of concerns around energy consumption and environmental impacts that this project will have. You mentioned in your article the developers announced a shift from natural gas combustion to a 2.45 gigawatt fuel cell system that is supposed to have lower emissions, but that's still not really satisfying a lot of critics who are concerned about what the long-term environmental impacts are going to be.
Right. There's an open comment period right now for a state environment department air quality permit for this technology. Now, there is still natural gas that has to be burnt for the fuel cells to produce energy. And so although the projected greenhouse gas emissions are somewhat lower than the original plan when they were going to build natural gas turbines, it's still 10.1 billion tons of gas annually, which, and especially in this part of the community, which has been burnt in the past by polluting industrial developments, there's just a lot of uproar on air quality and greenhouse gas emissions. We even had State Senator Jeff Steinborn turn up at the county meeting this week to implore the commissioners to require much more renewable energy being deployed to power this facility and less carbon burning.
So overarching concerns about transparency, if the public is really getting all the answers they should be getting, and the environmental impacts that Project Jupiter could have in southern New Mexico. The Journal Southern New Mexico correspondent Algernon DeMassa stopping by to share the latest with us. Thank you as always, Algernon.
Always a pleasure, Gino.
New Mexico leaders are demanding answers after reports that federal agents allowed hundreds of thousands of fentanyl pills to reach New Mexico streets while building larger criminal cases. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham called the tactic reckless and asked Attorney General Raul Torres to investigate whether any laws were broken. Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller and Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen condemned the practice, saying the potential benefits did not justify the risk to public safety. The controversy comes as New Mexico continues to lead the nation in overdose deaths, despite declines nationally. A federal judge has permanently blocked President Donald Trump from enforcing an executive order that would have required proof of citizenship to register to vote and restricted states from counting certain mail ballots received after Election Day. The ruling came in a lawsuit brought by New Mexico and other Democratic-led states. U.S. District Judge Denise Casper said the order violated constitutional separation of powers because election administration authority rests largely with the states. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres called the decision a win for voting access and argued that major election changes must go through established legislative processes. New Mexico Republicans will wait at least another month to fill their party leadership vacancy after failing to reach the required quorum for a planned chair election in Las Cruces. The vacancy was created after a judge ordered the previous chair to step down over violations of party neutrality rules during contested primaries. Interim leadership remains in place until the State Central Committee reconvenes on July 25th in Albuquerque. The delay comes less than 5 months before the general election, adding scrutiny over the party's internal divisions and election readiness. And wildfires in northern and central New Mexico prompted evacuations and road closures on Wednesday. Near Jemez Springs, the McCauley Springs fire quickly grew to 150 acres, forcing evacuations for Sierra de los Pinos, clearing camping grounds and shutting down part of Highway 4, as crews used helicopters and hand crews to fight the blaze. Nearby camps activated evacuation plans, with some relocating campers. Meanwhile, the Canyon Verde fire in Torrance County expanded to more than 850 acres and remains uncontained, though eastbound Interstate 40 reopened as firefighters continued protecting nearby structures and infrastructure. The leading news is powered by the journalism of the Albuquerque Journal. If you enjoy hearing all of the stories we share with you here daily, please consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Journal by utilizing the discount code in our show notes. Every subscription helps support local journalism and allows us to provide you with the news that matters to you. Now taking a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast, showers and thunderstorms are likely today, mainly after 3 p.m., increasing clouds with a high near 96. As for this evening, scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected before midnight, mostly cloudy, with a low around 64. To keep up with all the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal, you can visit our website at abqjournal.com. That's the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. We'll be back tomorrow.